Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this first edition of the Startup of the Year Awards. As you might know, Innovation Origins dedicates a lot of attention to startups. We interview them, we ask them about our newest ideas and how they bring them into life. And of course, in the large newspapers, we read a lot about the biggest news companies in Europe. These companies are really important in the world, and also during the corona crisis, they have shown them from their best sides. However, smaller companies and smaller startups are also really important, and that's why we pay attention to them. So even though they are not as big as big companies like Toyota or Fiat, they can be very special. And it's going really well with startups in Europe. And with tech startups in particular. So let's take a look at this explainer movie of Ava Drive about that.
Europese tech-startups onderscheiden zich bovendien ook bewust van hun Amerikaanse of Aziatische collega's. Veel Europese landen zijn leiders op het gebied van duurzaamheid, van energie tot transport. En er is dus sprake van een gunstig klimaat voor Europese start-ups in deze sector. Het WEF-rapport publiceerde een top 10 van landen die hun verantwoordelijkheid nemen als het aankomt op maatschappelijke problemen. Guess what? 7 van die 10 landen, jawel, die liggen in Europa. Ondanks het zorgwekkende rapport van het World Economic Forum lijkt de klimaatproblematiek voor tech-startups in Europa dus ook een kans. En ook al zijn we nog maar 20 jaar bezig met deze eeuw, het werk van deze start-ups zou ervoor kunnen zorgen dat de technologie uiteindelijk een meer gunstige impact op onze maatschappij krijgt. Eentje waarin normen en waarden en winst aan de andere kant elkaar versterken in plaats van uitsluiten. Hey, en weet je wat? Doe eens gek. Abonneer op ons kanaal om niks meer te missen.
This video, startups in Europe it's going really well with them, and they are very important. So you readers of Innovation Origins have chosen our Startup of the Week and Startup of the Month, and now now we're going to present you the Startup of the Year. And we are presenting these awards from a studio in Eindhoven in a digital way. It's always fun to have these kind of events with a bigger public, but due to Corona we can't do this, so that's why we do it in this way. And this is really fun too. So we analyzed 215 startups coming from all over Europe. And 5 of these startups are the winners of 5 categories, and we also have an overall winner tonight. Next to that, we also have some inspiring talks and interviews, so there's enough to see tonight. So after my introduction, I will have an interview with Guus Freriks, who will talk about the role of startups, especially in times of Corona. After that, Arjan Paans will have an interview with William Stevens on the state of startups in Europe. And after that, the award ceremony will start. So now I will have a talk with Guus Freriks. He is the founder and CTO at Hightech XL. They support hardware startup founders all the way from idea to prototype to scale up, and he also invests in them. So Guus, welcome. So this is a very special time for startup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when COVID kicked in, we were all surprised, also our community. We moved within 2 weeks. We took everything online.
Yes.
Basically, what we have is we have a startup support program, a venture builder program of 9 months, and there is a lot of buzz in our office normally. A lot of teams, a lot of founders, a lot of alumni, a lot of delegations from all over the world coming to visit us, investors and what have you. And so we are a community-driven program, and then to be all locked down and going online was not an idle thing to do. I think we made this step very, very quickly, and on the positive side, I'm really surprised how much you can do actually online. Probably in some areas even better and more efficient.
Yes, yes. So you were working together with all these different parties in a very big ecosystem,
Yeah.
but it's going very well. How does that come?
Well, I think it is a bit the nature of the region here around Eindhoven. There are a few big, really gigantic tech giants, such as ASML, Philips, and there are very, very strong links with the local supply chain. And as a result, you know, Eindhoven as a city, it's not a metropolitan area, it's around 200,000 inhabitants, so it's fairly small, but the amount of tech companies is pretty large, and it's very well connected and interlinked. So, yeah, everybody knows everybody. And
Yeah.
that makes it really easy to pass on the ball if you have a startup who needs to, you know, work on an advanced piece of equipment. You know, we bring them to VDL. VDL is one of the key suppliers again to ASML. So, you know, playing with that specific knowledge and network and mobilizing competencies, yeah, that works really, really well.
Yeah, and so during these times of Corona, how are these startups all doing?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, basically what we do at High Tech Excel together with our corporate partners, we source promising disruptive technologies from research centers. We do that, for instance, with CERN in Switzerland. We do it with TNO here in the Netherlands. Even technologies we source from Philips R&D. And then basically we look at the technology from a point of view, you know, what kind of big problems can we solve with this technology potentially in the market? And then we start mobilizing the community. So we say, you know, anybody who has ever dreamt and is still dreaming about creating their own tech company, but never had the right idea, the right technology, the right folks to do this, we bring them together in a one-day event, and then we say, you know, we've got really cool, promising technologies.
Yeah.
And then we shape teams, and then, you know, these teams enter the 9 months venture building program, and then in a very structured way, we build these companies. Now, we had such gathering scheduled for March 25th.
Yeah.
And normally we have like 80 to 120 potential new co-founders coming together, meeting each other and shape teams. And whereas most of the events, especially in the beginning of the Corona outbreak, were cancelled or postponed or delayed, we said, you know, let's take the bull by the horns and see whether we can do this online. And we had only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was. I'm still excited about it and super proud that we actually pulled it off, because we had over 90 people participating in the online event. So people
really
who have never met each other in person, shaping up new teams to create new ventures, and until I would say 3 weeks ago, some teams for the first time met each other. So yeah, we're building now 7 new companies with people who didn't meet each other before March 25th and shape teams digitally online. And
yeah, so you didn't even meet in real life, but it's you can still say that you can cope really well with it. Actually.
Yeah. And for us, that is a big thing, because our vision has always been to do this digital and online, so that we can mobilize more folks from around the globe to participate in these venture building activities.
Yeah.
Our original thinking was like, you know, we need to set up, we have an office already running in Shanghai. We have been working a couple of years ago in Boston, so we want to have foothold in 3 continents. But the vision was to go fully digital online, because that scales way faster.
Exactly.
And basically we have turned this crisis into an opportunity and said, you know, let's accelerate on that vision and actually create that digital environment, create the digital support tools, the infrastructure and what have you. And yeah, I'm pretty excited how much progress we have made and the good things coming out of it.
Yeah, so you made a lot of progress, and do you have like examples or stories of startups that first did something and then the Corona came and then they did something else?
Yeah, I have a few, but one of the ones I like really a lot, it is, so we sourced technology from TNO, a Dutch research institute. And this technology can basically do direct air capturing of CO2 in a very economical way. and then turn that captured CO2 in synthetic kerosene. So now, talking about a company with a purpose, so we believe that if with the size of a soccer field, full with that equipment, we can neutralize the entire yearly emissions of CO2 of the KLM, the Dutch airline.
Really?
Yeah. Now, just before the crisis, the team was really working on different experiments, so different thin film material with different sorbents to see the reaction speed, this, that, and so on. And that was all planned to take place in existing state-of-the-art labs around the region here. Now, obviously, all the labs closed down, so they were kind of stuck with their experiment until the technical guys of the team, one guy, Jasper, took the initiative. He said, well, I know a lot about how the equipment we need and how it operates. I'm going to turn my own garage at home into a lab.
Yeah.
So they did it the other way around. Rather than trying to enter existing labs, they said, no, let's get the equipment and build the garage. Now, why do I like that story so much? We all know that there have been quite a few of tech companies, not in the last place, Apple, who literally started from a garage. And the same, they've raised over the last couple of weeks $1 million in addition in funding.
Yeah.
So it's really weird because in a way it forces us to think out of the box and come out with truly new ideas.
Yeah. So
and they pull it off, and they're going like at rocket speed and.
Yeah, so
fully gung ho on the whole venture, even maybe more excited even than before COVID outbreak. So.
Yeah, so the COVID outbreak is of course really difficult for all of us, but you are coping really creative ways.
Yeah.
So do you think this will permanently, in the future, change how people look at the startup world?
Yeah, personally, I think in general it has forced, I think, a lot of people around the globe to really go in a bit of self-reflection and take a little bit of distance and really think through a bit deeper on, what are we doing here on Earth. And what I see is that because we only build ventures which try to address the grand challenges societies are facing today. And I think the lasting effect here is that there will be an increasing amount of people who really want to work on purpose-driven innovations and entrepreneurship and do something meaningful. That's one thing. So that's good news for us. The pool of potential talented co-founders is growing, I would say.
Yes.
The other thing is I think we have learned that there are pretty nice other ways of working, balancing out a bit better. I mean, startup life is crazy, there's never, it's never ending. And
it's chaotic.
It's chaotic. And if you fix one problem, you get 10 new one in return. So there's a tendency to work extremely hard. But I think because of this outbreak, we have also learned, a maybe more efficient way of working online. But also, it's possible to find a good balance between working from home and working in the office.
Yeah, and you talk in general maybe, but do you also feel that personally for yourself it changed you?
It changed me, yeah, because I realized that my time was also a lot of my time was consumed by somebody grabbed me at the coffee machine. Somebody asked, "Hey, do you have 10 minutes here? Do you have 10 minutes there?" And basically, my day before COVID was back to back with meetings and then hardly anything in between. But now, we have a very focused slot with team coaching. And in between, I have a bit more time to think and be with myself. And so I notice my creativity is going to the next level.
So that might be something positive then.
For me, absolutely. And I hope for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because we need good news. We need positive stories. I'm personally sick and tired of reading the newspapers and this is going bad and disaster here and it's not. We have not seen the worst. And what about the second outbreak? And that is pumping so much negative energy into the system. I think
Yeah, and I think
plenty of positive stories we need to get more attention for.
yes. Well, the positive stories of startups, I think we focus on them today, so that's really great.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Can imagine. All right. Thank you so much for this talk, Guus. I think he made it very clear that this is a really rough time for all of us, but together we can do this. So I think now it's time for an interview with Arjen Paans and William Stevens. I will shortly introduce them. For the ones that already know, Arjen Paans is the chief editor of Innovation Origins, and he has been for a couple of years now, and he's still going strong. And he will talk with William, who developed the Tech Tour, which is a platform facilitating the scaling of European tech enterprises with investors, cooperative and governmental strategic partners. Take the stage, Arjen.
Yeah, we have a bit of a delay, I think, because Mr. Stevens is still, we're still waiting for Mr. Stevens in Sofia.
All right.
So maybe we can talk a little bit more about the startup scene in general.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea. Yeah.
And I was really happily surprised by the positive news from the Eindhoven region, since there's also, of course, a lot of negative stories about the economy that has been a setback. Don't you see any negative sides of the corona crisis?
Oh, of course. Of course. So we have been hit hard. I mean, if you are an early stage pre-money startup, right? So you're still in product development. And especially if there is a hardware element to it. It could be a sensor, could be building a piece of advanced equipment, robotics, medtech. It was already extremely hard to get early stage funding. Unlike web and app business here, very easily you need $500,000 to up to 2.5, sometimes even more, to just build a simple prototype, right? So that was already very, very hard.
Yeah.
And what you see happening is that all these VCs, all these informal investors, they all step back.
Yeah.
They're like, the VCs are saying, hey, I keep my powder dry to support my already invested portfolio. So I'm not going to do additional new deals. Yeah, and informal investors are also looking at their personal investment portfolio and are also like, let's wait a little bit.
Yeah.
So, early stage funding is very hard. I'm super pleased and also proud actually with the way the Dutch government quickly mobilized some corona rescue funding. Way too little, of course, was 100 million in the first wave for the entire scene in the Netherlands. And I think it has been oversubscribed up to, in the first wave, 600 million. So that shows the mere size of the issue here. So I'm happy that the second wave is coming.
Yeah.
But that investment, getting liquidity in the startup scene is very difficult.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you very much. We have a connection with Sofia, with Bulgaria, with Mr. Stevens. We're a bit sooner. Thank you for being here, Mr. William Stevens. You were still in Greece this afternoon, and now back in Bulgaria, from Belgium origin, I understand. But you know the startup scene from the back of your hand. Can you say how badly the startups in Europe have been hit by the corona crisis?
Well, there are. Can you hear me well, by the way?
Yeah.
There are statistics from the German Startup Association that 2 months ago they expected around 35 to 40% of startups to fail. But it hasn't happened yet. And this is very typical for startups. They are resilient and they are flexible. So in my estimate, I believe that perhaps 20% of startups will fail, and there is a part, of course, of startups that were not fit enough, not strong enough, generally in terms of the entrepreneurs, in terms of the management, in terms of the market opportunity, And of course, some of the startups are in the wrong sector. If you're on travel bookings or restaurant bookings, but lately it was not a good time. But even there, we can see that they are pivoting and finding new solutions.
Yeah. Because of the corona crisis, it seems that globalization and internationalization have come to an end. Is that how you see it?
No, I think there is an assumption that indeed governments in our countries are becoming more centered on themselves and becoming protectionist. But the big change of corona crisis, of course, is the huge acceleration of the digital transformation of not only of business, not only of government, but of society as a whole. So we were, if the corona crisis would have happened 20 years ago, we would have actually been all alone at home and not being able to connect other than with television or radio. Here, in some way, we are seeing that things are more effective online. Many people say that they are more efficient these days, but that also means that there are no more boundaries and borders. So a company from Kenya or Madagascar or from Albania can very well serve a customer in Eindhoven. Of course, there is not, when it needs personal contact or physical delivery, there will always be that part. And with trade restrictions, particularly for sectors that are more subject to protectionism, like health, there will of course be more or less internationalization. But I think this is a short-term thing, and I believe that developing or emerging countries, as sometimes they're still called, will actually bounce back very rapidly.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Governments have indeed invested massively in the economy in the last months. In Germany, in the Netherlands, in France, in particular, billions have been set aside. Is that why the Eastern and Southern European regions are lagging behind?
Well, as you may know, there is indeed now discussion, which the Netherlands is taking a strong position on.
Yeah, you can say so.
But I personally fully understand that position about what should be done. And indeed, it seems that the EU wants to, of course, invest in countries that were economically already rather weak. But I think the future will tell us which countries were actually weak and what were the best strategies. I think we all agree that injecting money into the economy is the right thing to do, but should that be in the form of investments, or should it be, for example, in the form of paying grants or giving subsidies for people that are temporarily unemployed? Generally, what is needed is a rapid transformation of the way we are organized.
Hmm.
And in general terms, that requires more people rather than less. And in general, private companies and smaller companies in particular tend to be more agile and responsive than, say, larger companies or some parts of the public sector of Europe.
So you think that the countries that don't invest that much in old ways of industry, for example, like the airplane industry or the KLMs or the Lufthansa's, that don't have this money, they could profit in the end from the lack of money, and that they could be more flexible and more inventive?
Well, I mean, if you invest in companies, of course, like saving KLM or Lufthansa, you have to ask yourself as a shareholder, is it the best investment? At the end, there will be some investors, even for Lufthansa, there were private investors lining up. So the question is, what is the best investment the government can make? And I believe there's two investments. It's following where some of the private money is going, but where it's lacking. So somebody is taking the risk, so you follow that. And of course, it's also helping with regulations and with maybe new rules, the societal transformation. And for example, the whole role of data has been really underlined. So what can governments do to give access to health records so that as citizens we have better information, but also that our information is better protected? Now this is not managed, and de facto probably Google has more information about our whereabouts than the Dutch or the Belgian government or the Bulgarian government for that matter.
Absolutely. In the long term, what will be needed to ensure that the economies in all our countries have to grow at the same rate, you think?
So I think generally, if you look at it in the really long term, this process is accelerating a leveling of our societies globally. Of course, if you look at it from developing countries, Western Europe and the US and Japan, and even to some extent China now, are have an overproportionate share of income and wealth. So I think the Corona crisis, COVID impact, is very much about acceleration of the leveling of this. So this is also why, at the end of the day, internationalization will, I'm not saying globalize, internationalization is increasing or will be increasing. And what do governments need to do? I think, as mentioned, probably think about effectiveness and efficiency of the public sector, which needs to be agile, flexible, transparent. We're not saying smaller or bigger. Some countries very small in Europe, some countries very big, like Belgium. And also to foresee that they continue to invest in future opportunities. So still investing in universities, in further education, because at the end of the day, skills is what matters.
Yeah. Speaking about young people and about students, maybe, who we have a lot of in Eindhoven, in this region, an economic crisis often leads to fear and reluctance on the part of young people to opt for entrepreneurship. Why should you encourage them to start their own business right now?
Well, maybe if you're young and have not that much experience, of course, it's good to first gather some experience. But in my view, you gather that more in a startup or in a growth company than, say, in a larger company. Of course, there's always the interesting position in large companies if you're very, very smart, and the same in the public sector. But generally, you see from closer to the action in smaller company or in a growth company. And that is type of experience, I think, agility, reacting to things that young people can benefit from in the future. And of course, it depends, in small companies, the good ones and less good ones. But certainly the jobs will be created there. And why not creating then your company if you're feeling comfortable? And if you're probably surrounded by the right people in the team or around the team, I think it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur than now.
Okay. What do you think is an example of a successful startup in recent years? You see so many, and as we spoke this afternoon, you had some great. You mentioned some great ones, but what was one of the greatest you've met?
I mean, there's different criteria, of course. There is, the unicorns that most people know, like Skype that was created, But the great thing that I see now is that there are great companies coming from all over Europe. One of the reasons that I came to Bulgaria was that I met an entrepreneur called Vasil Terziev. And together with 3, 4 friends, he created a company right out of university. He was a mathematics student, and in 12 years' time, they created a company with 1,500 people, of which 1,300 were programmers, and they were not in outsourcing.
Wow.
They were really developing productivity components for Microsoft software tools. They had 2 million customers. And this was a company nobody heard of before. 7, 8 years ago, it was sold for $290 million, and this is a Bulgarian company. Since then, that person has been, I think he's been investing in close to 50 companies personally. He has now started 2 venture funds.
Wow.
He had a school for programmers and young people starting in primary school all over Bulgaria. He's training at the higher education level. It's completely private. People with the best reputation in the whole country, and they're turning out the best countries. He's training something like 6,000 programmers per year. And it's completely private initiative, but he's supported by many people. He's very popular, and he's a very good person. He doesn't do it for the money. He does it for helping young people. So this is a nice example. I didn't give you this.
Yeah, no. You mentioned, actually, you mentioned another one.
Yeah, when I spoke to him, I said, this is a really nice country. It was a bit the opposite, because in my country where I'm from, the government, everybody's complaining because the government doesn't do this or doesn't do that. Here, the government is extremely small, but it fosters a level of solidarity that I didn't see. And I think it is what is supposed to come, of course. That it's not all like that in Bulgaria. We have, unfortunately, some corruption still and some less effective companies, less companies. But generally, Bulgaria is very bad on infrastructure, but is one of the leaders in Europe for sure in the software industry.
Yeah. How important is it for Europe to work together in innovation? It's one of our missions with Innovation Origins. We show all the innovations across Europe. Of course, you work in this since 20 years already. How important is it to work together from different countries?
It's an excellent question, Arjan. And first of all, congratulations on your platform and also on this initiative and on the prizes that you're giving, the awards. I think collaboration and cooperation is what it is all about in the future. Robert Bosch, with whom I worked a lot, is one of the largest engineering companies in the world. They say it's all about partnering. So even if a company like Bosch that has offices all over the world says that everything is about partnering, this is what we should embrace. And particularly in Europe, the market is fragmented, but this is also the reality of most of the world. So in this sense, we should work and use our skills to cross languages, to cross cultures, to cross different regulations and laws, to go outside Europe as well. I really believe that technology can deliver solutions to citizens worldwide in health, in energy, in transport, in mobility, in security, in government even. I mean, we have a lot of government in Europe, but many of the places in the world don't have much of a government service where the European companies could partner, and I really insist on the word partner, with local companies, local partners to deliver solutions. And for example, German industry, that is the biggest motor, the engine of European industry, has always used that partnership model to deliver its machinery.
Yeah.
It never sort of said, here's the machine, now it's your problem. And part of the success was to manage this relationship and ongoing service, training, engineering, and they were learning from their customers worldwide. And that's not only Germany. I mean, we have in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Scandinavia, Switzerland, and even in all over Europe, you have great companies that are world leaders in their specific space.
Final question, are you positive or negative about the startup climate in Europe in the long term?
I'm extremely positive because it's the future. The public sector, as mentioned, will need, in some countries, is probably too big to be sustainable financially, particularly because of COVID impact. But we have invested in a lot of great education, in a level playing field across the European Union that is very positive. So people in Bulgaria or Romania feel that they are part of Europe, that they can rely on the rule of law, generally, not always, but generally, and that there is mobility and opportunity for them across the Union. And this creates a lot of potential. We have a huge, motivated group of young people. Whenever you go and I go, we go somewhere in Europe, we're always amazed by the quality of people. And at the end of the day, that's the value of startups. We probably, as said, have to reduce a little bit the public sector and have more confidence in our ability to adapt to the new normal.
Thank you for your time, William.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Arjen.
For this interesting interview, and let's hope William is right about the positive future of the climate of the startups, and let's hope that young people and people in general will dare to take a step into getting a new company or startup. So I think it's now time for the awards. The moment we all came for, of course. I'm very excited to present to you the winners of tonight. We have 5 categorical winners. The categories are sustainable, digital, health, corona, and mobility. And we also have an overall winner, which we reveal in the end. The winners have been chosen from the startups of the week. With the category Corona, the jury looked at startups that combat Corona directly, but also in an indirect way, with helping with the impact of the pandemic. So yeah, let's start with the first winner of today. The winner of the first category of sustainability is coming from the Netherlands, from Delft. It's Field Factors. This startup works on a smart way to catch rainwater, and the system helps to reduce the usage of rainwater. Their system enables purification and storage of rainwater with the use of a circular system. And it's a compact green system that collects and purifies 95% of the rainwater. So we might look at the video. So as you can see, the system collects the water, it filters it, and then it collects it. And the collected water can be used again. Yeah, so congratulations to the winners. Then we go to the second category, which is digital. The winner of the category digital is a startup from Lithuania, Sketch AR. With their app, you can learn how to draw in a very interesting way. The mobile app of them uses augmented reality and machine learning and neural networks. It's the first assistant powered by AI for drawing using augmented reality. Let's take a look at the video.
The main problem for artists, and especially for people generally when starting drawing, is the fear of a white canvas. Hi, my name is Andre, founder and CEO of Sketch AR, and also I'm a multidisciplinary artist and designer. Since 2004, I've been creating art, design, interactive installations, videos, and mobile products. I've always been passionate about two things: technology and art. At the same time, as a tech guy, I knew what kind of tech would be helpful for me as an artist. It is augmented reality. For novices in drawing, SketchUR offers hope. We have shrank the gap between fear and the action of taking the first step. We have built this most powerful assistant for creativity powered by AI. We already use machine learning and neural networks to analyze everything that a smartphone camera sees on paper to give users very personalized advice for drawing. Usually, our users are really happy with the first drawing using SketchUR. I'm thrilled by how excited the first results are. The first line you draw will lead you to the endless growth.
Yeah, so with this app you can just hold up your phone and watch virtual images appear across your surroundings, which is really helpful with drawing, of course. So congratulations for this digital category. Then we go to the health category. This is the third winner of the night, and they are coming from Italy. And this startup is called Liquid Web. And by means of EEG, this startup offers an instrument that helps paralyzed patients so that they are able to communicate again. And they can do this by imagined movement. So the patient can communicate with a computer, with their brain to a computer by measuring brain activity. For example, when they think about raising their hand, the computer will know this, and eventually the patient really can raise their hand. So let's take a look.
Brain Control Avatar comes from the idea of controlling objects through thoughts.
Brain-computer
interface is the name of the technology we've been developing for several years now, in order to give patients with serious disabilities the possibility to communicate again through these brain stimuli. Once this first phase of the project was completed, we decided to focus on robotics and offer them a robotic alter ego capable of exploring spaces and interact with other people in remote environments. It will be a social inclusion service, since it will allow them to regain the possibility of interacting with other visitors, with a guide, and break the walls of their rooms.
Yeah, so the system also allows the patient to communicate with family members and doctors, which is really great. Congratulations to them. So now we go to the next category, which is Corona. And the winner of the Corona category is the startup from Germany, AnyDesk. And AnyDesk is focusing on home working during times of Corona. And they wanted to create a way to work from home in a digital environment without any hitches. So the system, the startup assures you that ensures you that you can connect safely to other computers. If it is in the room or on the other side of the world, it all works. So let's take a look. congratulations to AnyDesk. So custom applications are available for organizations that have sensitive data as well, which is really useful for them. The next category is mobility. So before we go to the overall winner, we go to the last category, which is the startup XYZ Dynamics. So they are able to convert your old diesel into a hybrid. More and more you see these emission-free zones in which a lot of people cannot go anymore. So since certain commercial vehicles are no longer allowed in the city, construction workers and postal services, for instance, can no longer do their jobs. So this will solve their problem. Let's take a look at it.
As an engineering company, XYZ Dynamics has developed a sustainable and cost-effective solution to convert a wide range of transportation and building equipment through hybridization. Using our next-gen vehicle technology, we solve the huge problem of sharply reducing economic lifetime. We look to connect with development and marketing partners to apply our sustainable mobility solution so that we can smoothen the energy transition together.
Yeah, congratulations. So now it's time to go to the overall winner of tonight, which is the startup of the year, Ava Drive. And they are developing wheelchair mobility by using head motion. So people that make use of the wheelchairs, they are often dependent on others. So this is uncomfortable and can be unpleasant for them. So this is a really good solution. So by making use of smart glass technology, wheelchairs can be moved by using the motion of the head. So let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Konstantin. I'm one of the founders of Monevo. We developed Monevo Drive, a special steering control for electric power wheelchairs. About 35,000 people in Europe are yearly diagnosed with ALS, MS, who have high spinal cord injuries and are therefore not able to use their hands to control a wheelchair using a normal joystick. Using smart glasses, Monevo Drive is able to detect people's head movements. These are then translated into driving commands and sent to the wheelchair. Thus, the user can drive hands-free and independently. The goal behind Monevo Drive is to provide people who, due to their disability, are overlooked when it comes to getting new technology, getting technology in general, by giving them something smart to give them their freedom, mobility and independence back.
Yeah, congratulations to all the winners of tonight. We wish you all the best, and we hope you will keep the hard work going and that you are able to grow even more in the future. But before we go, let's listen to a final word of Guus Freriks. Do you want to react on this startup?
We also have a reaction of Monevo, indeed.
Oh, we have a reaction?
Yeah, from Germany.
Right, let's take a look at it.
Hi there, I'm Konstantin from Monevo. We are incredibly happy to have been selected Innovation Origin Startup of the Year. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to us. I still remember being awarded Startup of the Month August last year. That already was really cool. Now, almost a year later, being Startup of the Year is very special. And what a year it's been since last August. Last year was our first year on the market with Monevo Drive, our special steering control for electric wheelchairs. So it was a very busy and exciting year, presenting our steering control a lot and testing with possible users, of whom many are using Monevo Drive actually right now. So that's really cool. And then this year started off with us growing our sales team. We have 2 new guys in our team doing sales for us. We really wanted to give it all this year, just really be out there and broaden our network also in the Netherlands. And then Corona came. We've also been affected, obviously. We're relying on our direct contact to wheelchair users. So we couldn't do that. A lot of clinics and care homes have been closed down. So we couldn't test with as many users as we wanted or try out with them. So this as I said, meant our sales team just couldn't work as much as they wanted and we wanted. But I know we're a great team, and we know that we will get through this as a team. And so far, we've been working together really well, even in these hard times. And funny enough, like this award is something very positive, even in these hard times. So it means a lot to us, and even more now than usual, because it's just hard times, and getting something like this is really special. So thank you very much.
Let's hope they can keep the hard working going even in times of Corona. Guus, do you think these are the true winners?
Yeah, you see it. Without exception, of course, there's an overall winner, but clearly a company working on a real big problem, a company with a purpose, a company with a mission. And of course, that's a real problem and it has to be fixed. And yeah, then, okay, Corona might make it a bit more difficult, but you're working on a purpose, you will get there. You're mission driven, and the crisis is slowing you down maybe a little bit, but you will get there. But also liquid web, yeah, I love that. It's a real. Can you imagine if you're paralyzed and being a father of children, me myself, and then not being able to communicate with your loved ones? I think it is great what they are doing. I feel very honored and humbled that I had the opportunity to work with them a few years ago. And the others as well, companies with a purpose, that's great.
Yeah. And how did you work with them? What did you do with them?
They were actually part of our program a few years ago. So there was really in the beginning when, there was promising technology, but they needed to get their head around the business model, go-to-market strategy, funding, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm always excited when I see alumni, really making it and getting there. Yeah.
So I think this startup and what they're doing affects all of us a lot. So it means a lot of us and the whole of society, of course. And so thank you for being here. I think it was all new for us, to do this virtually, but I think it all has been going really well. And
I have one more thing to add, because we spoke a lot, and I see that also in the newspapers and online and in news shows. We talk a lot about the government, this, that, and so on. We need to realize that the government is playing an important role, but they are just facilitating. If you really want to fix issues, it has to be the entrepreneurs, it has to be with new technology. And one should really realize that the coolest companies, the best companies, often were created in the midst of a crisis or shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And okay, it's hard, but the world has been totally shaken up, and that creates complete new set of opportunities in the area of smart mobility, in the area of smart cities, the energy transition, health tech, telemedicine, AI, you name it. So, I think I would like to encourage the audience also to seriously think about a career as an entrepreneur and work on technology with ultra smart people and fix real problems. And then one day, maybe you get an award like this as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so people, I hope you heard that. And if you have any ideas, please try considering and take it to the next level. I think that was the end of it. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, Arjan. Thank you, Guus, and thank you, William. Thank you all for watching this, and thanks to all the winners, of course. And we hope to see you maybe next year.